Alright, we're live. Good to see you guys. And I'm gonna start pretty soon. So I'm not going to go through the Photoshop recomposition thing this evening because I want to be able to finish this painting hopefully within an hour and a half. So I'm gonna go straight into it. The reference itself is pretty straightforward, and we have this nice morning light that's really misty in the distance, and the midground, the foreground got this warm autumn sunlight. It's really beautiful. It's near the city where I live in. So I'm gonna do that. I'll move some things around, I'll change things, but it will be just referencing from this photo a lot. You should be able to see the photo on the top right. Now it's a little bit small if you're watching it on like a tablet, but if you're watching it on a monitor, feel free to go for full screen. Alright, so there shouldn't be any echo now because somebody told me there's an echo. Are you guys hearing me clearly and everything sounds good? There's a really subtle music in the background that was intended. Okay, yeah, I play a little bit jazzy music from Studio Ghibli. Alright, so we'll be starting. And by the way, I got three teeth extracted this afternoon, so if I, in the middle of the painting, I run out in pain, just so that letting you guys know. I did took like an ibuprofen before the demo, so it should hold up. Hold on a minute. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So first thing I'm going to do is just to block out some basic shape. Now the overall picture is a little bit of a wide angle, so I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So I'll have my trees around here. That goes into here. I'm not really drawing the tree. They're really just the shape itself. And there's a tree on the right. So we have this sort of a little bit more different, a little bit more odd lighting scenario because the background is actually a little bit darker than the foreground because background actually didn't receive much of the sunlight. The foreground has it more. So this will be a little bit different. Okay, background trees, foreground. And we'll have our horizon, let me see, around here. Okay, that will be our horizon. However, this road has a slope up a little bit, so it ends around here. into the mist. Okay. Now the building, a lot of it is blocked behind the tree. So I might hint a little bit of the building, but they are not the main focus of this painting. And I'll try not to draw, and I try not to paint the things that I don't really know what that is. But I do know there's a building here. And so vanishing point, I'll say, is around here. And we'll have another building that goes into the distance here. Okay. Some buildings here, and there's like a house here. Okay. And there would be the trees. I think this will be a very fun painting to paint because the colors are so beautiful. But I have to do a lot of planning. So the vanishing point is here. So I will draw a line out here. This will be the left side of the street. Here will be the sidewalk. Okay. And there will be another sidewalk here. The thing about perspective is you don't have to be super accurate. Like, I don't hold a ruler and to draw them, but as long as they're relatively correct, you'll be good, because even in the real world, nothing is super parallel. When we live in the real world, there's always a little bit of human error and a little bit of off. So as long as it's correct, don't fuss about it too much. Okay. Now this two curve line goes up because the row driving goes up a little bit. Okay. And then we have some trees here. The cover part of the distance. Okay. We have a dark tree back there in the background. And then we have a light tree that's catching the sunlight. Okay, I hope I can pull it off, because it's always a challenge when you're trying to paint something that's just naturally so beautiful, and it's hard to do it justice. Okay, right. Let me make the building a little bit more clear. So I know this part is sort of like a circular shape. It's kind of like a cylinder. So I'll just lightly hint that. Again, the building itself is not really our main focus. So they just have to be there, sort of hinted by some light and shadow, and that's it. Okay, there's some trees, this huge tall pine evergreen trees on the back. They are really, really beautiful because they're half in the mist. So it'll be really nice when I start to paint those. Okay, and we have our electric pole here. Now it's a lot of it's covered by tree, but I might have it show a little bit more. We'll see. Because some of those electric cables are a nice way to have some horizontal thing going on for the painting. And there's a lamppost right here. I'm gonna move it down a little bit. So maybe right here. Okay. Okay, now let's do a car. This is a red car in the photo. I actually quite like it. But I'm going to move it to the front a little bit more. What I like to do for the cars, I'll just do like a rectangle first. And there's another one. Okay. There's another one here, a little bit more into the distance. Okay, a little bit more here. Okay, I don't want to do too many cars this morning. If I do too many cars, it might kind of just kill the tranquility of it. Okay. Now I notice my vanishing point is a little bit off, so I'm gonna move the vanishing point a little bit to the right instead of here. So it actually won't affect the overall drawing that much. Yep, still pretty much the same. All right. Now I'll try to zoom in on the car and see if I can okay, I'll do the car here. Alright, the top windshield like so. Here's the side of the car. Okay, remember it goes into the perspective. Okay, think of it as some very basic primitive boxes, trapezoid, pyramid, whatever that is. Okay, and the headlight, I'll lightly block that in. The front grille. Bottom, the tire, front tire. Okay. Now take off some of those lines so it's a little bit cleaner. Okay, here's another car. This car is a little bit more on the back, so I'm gonna make it a little bit looser. Okay, clean up some of the line here. Alright. And this car that's going away from us, there's one lane that coming towards us, there's two lanes going away from us. So this car is driving away from us. It's a little bit taller. I think it's like a SUV or minivan. Tail light. All right. Okay, let me zoom out again. There we go. quickly block out some cars in the distance. There's some little bits and pieces in the distance that I'm not going to worry too much. And okay, I'm thinking if I should have something here, because it feels a little bit empty. Let me see. Well, let me see. Let's do this. Let me shrink the street a little bit. Let me actually do this. Let me make the sidewalk move a little bit to the left. That way I can sneak some figures in. Okay. Alright. So horizon's around here. So the head will be around here. See if I can zoom that in a little bit. Okay, the head, the shoulder, the body, and the feet. There. Now we have a figure. Oh, we'll have somebody next to him. Somebody else on the back. I'm not quite sure yet. All right. Hi, Anne. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so I think that's it for the drawing. Don't want to cut up too much on the drawing. I'm gonna do my first wash. All right. So, zoom it out. Take my big, giant, size 18 brush. Get plenty of water. Now, I have a dirty palette, which is great. I'm just gonna pick up some of this gray color, and I'll use that as a base. So okay, actually add a little bit more cobalt blue. Like, I'm not afraid for a color to be a little bit dirty. Like this. Like, as long as the value is right and the washes are clean, I think you'll look fine. Let me take a look at that. That looks nice, nice and blue. Okay. Now, there's one thing that I need to watch out for because the trees are so bright. I think I might actually need to mix some yellow for the first wash. So this is Handsome Yellow Deep. It's a little bit dirty because there's some greenish color on it, but I think this will do. Okay, Just get that color in. Okay, some colors on the building is fine. We just want to get some light yellow in it. Okay, clean my brush. Back to the blue color. Okay. I guess a little bit green. Okay. Right. Seems okay. A little bit green is okay. There's trees in the distance anyways. Now try to carefully cut around the buildings. Add a little bit more blue here. Okay, so if you see that bead there, that bead is going to help me to carry the wash down. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is to have another brush that just have the yellow. Okay, so got some yellow here. I'm gonna mix a little bit of yellow ochre so it's not so so it feels a little bit more rich. So I'm just gonna wet it randomly. So there's some white spot there, here and there. That should be okay. Remember, it's the first wash, so you're just trying to get the light and the atmosphere in. Okay, I'm not thinking about painting tree right now. Just some basic shape and block. Basic shape and color. Okay, now I can safely bring that wash down. Okay. Now, okay. Try to carefully leave some highlights here and there, especially some highlights in the distance. That can help us to have this illusion of detail. Okay, comes down a little bit darker, a little bit warmer. Actually, not too much warmer because it's actually a darker distance. Okay, there's a house here, so I'll try to preserve that highlight there. Okay, some. Okay, so I am approaching the horizon. So I'm starting to leave a little bit random highlights there. Okay. Not too much, just a little bit. And I will stop here. Paint around the car. Okay, a little bit too much white. Okay. How does it look? I think it looks all right. Okay. Bring some of the value here. Okay. Okay, so leave some white for the tree trunk that's getting some sunlight. Okay. So this little bits and pieces that helps to kind of hint that there's some cars in the distance. Okay. I'm just adjusting the color a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay, let's see. Now just clean water. And let me just soften that horizon. Just picking up some yellow, but I think that's fine. Okay, actually gonna use that yellow, mix some burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and we mix a warm gray. See how that looks. A little bit too dark, so I add a little bit of water. Okay. Get that warm color in. Okay. Okay. Burn umber. A little bit of cobalt just to kind of neutralize it just a little bit. It's still wet, so you can play with it. All right. I'm making it much darker and cooler. Darker. All the way down. Just fill some of this white in, just with clean water. Okay. And I'm taking a clean brush, squeeze out the moisture so it gets pretty damp. I'm just gonna do some directional line like that. Okay. Another one here. And just do another one here. Okay. This can help later on just to give that a little bit extra details on the street. Alright, so that's the first wash. You just have to be clean. Okay, some basic color there because all the trees are very yellow. If you look at the photo, the yellow is the lightest color actually in this painting. Now, of course, I don't want to make the sky too dark because it'll start to look weird. But for the first wash, it's the lightest color besides the white on the building. The yellow leaf, I need to put that value in first, so then I can come back in with darker value for the branches, some darker values here and there. All right. Now, this is pretty dry, so I can continue on, but the bottom is still wet. I'm not gonna touch it. All right. Okay, I'm going to do the distant foggy tree. So in order to do that, I need to re-wet the surface. Let me actually change the water because the water is a little bit green. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, nice and clean. If you guys have any question, let me know anytime. Okay, so let's re-wet this area. Sorry, Mel, I'm not sure what you mean by underpaint. Like the first wash? So there's somebody, I got some student in the private group asking me question as well. Yeah, first wash is helpful to get the color of the light in, and also just to get that dreadful white of the paper away. I mean, depends on what you do. If you're doing like a still life, then you probably don't need that. But for a big scale landscape like this, you probably want that. Okay. Actually wet a little bit more here. So this whole area is wet, okay, but the building is not. So I don't want to, because I don't want the distant tree to go into the building. Okay, I want to preserve those light. I'm gonna mix a blue color, add a little bit of turquoise. So that gives me like a nice distant tree color. Okay, it actually needs to be a little bit more intense than you think because I'm painting it wet on wet. Now, while this is wet, I'm just gonna drop that in like so with the tip of your brush. When you drop stuff in with the tip of your brush, you can have a little bit of definition while it is still a soft shape like that. Okay, okay, a little bit warmer, just a tiny bit. Oh Mel, I was saying that first wash is to get rid of the white of the paper, so you're not facing everything white, and then you want some light color and atmosphere. which is pretty important for a landscape painting. If you're doing a still life, maybe it's not that necessary, but for a scenery painting, it's generally recommended that you have a first wash. Okay, now look at that distant tree, beautiful. And then there's, whoops, that water dripped down, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. Okay. Just cut that off, and that'll be fine. Okay, I have like a smaller brush and a little bit harder brush, and I'll just drop in just a little bit details here. Okay, I don't want it much, just a little bit, just so that we can have a tiny bit more lost and found edges. Okay, I'm gonna spray that wash a little bit. Keep it wet a little bit longer so I can play with it just a little bit more. And also kind of break that shape a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, as it comes down here, it gets darker, and you can see that in the photo. So I'll try to do the same here. So mix a darker gray, like that, and just have it softly transition down. Like so. And while doing that, again, I'm trying to preserve some highlights for the distance. So okay, I'm gonna bring this dark over to the left. Again, looking at the photo, is quite dark down here, so I'll just bring that over, cut around the car, like that. It looks like I'm making this decision on the fly, but just quite a bit of thought process behind it. Okay, so okay, now, okay, these are sort of hint for the windows. That's why there's some white spots here. Okay, I'll just use clean water and try to soften that up. Most of this part will be just a tree. And this house has this warm light on it, so I'm going to add some warm color to it. Too warm. So the process for this painting is just a little bit backward than my usual approach. I actually start to paint some dark quite early in the stage. Okay. And I'm actually not sure how it's gonna turn out, so if I didn't pull it off, I apologize. And I'll delete this video, pretend it never happened. Okay. Now. Okay. So there's a hard line here. I'm actually gonna keep that because that's a cast shadow. This is like a cast shadow from all the trees and stuff there. So I'm going to add some dark value here. Now. This is a pretty dark area, so I'm gonna carefully paint over my figure, preserve the highlight. But also I'm gonna start to bring them up just a little bit. Okay. Now I am going to make a funny brush like this so I can have a little bit more random shape like that. Okay, I'm looking at the reference, I'm looking at my painting, making decisions. See, this is reverse, right? If it's in oil, I can just paint it all black and dip some and put some light yellow on it. And watercolor, I have to work in reverse. I can use gouache, but it doesn't feel the same. I tend not to use gouache too much for this kind of stuff. If I can preserve the light, I will do that by all means. So see, we got some nice yellow leaves here. Okay, I don't like dabbing, but for things like this, I don't really have a choice. So I need to make them just a little bit darker, like that. And this is starting to dry, but if I have my mixture quite wet, quite dry, I can still drop them in without them destroying the wash. These are starting to dry. And it looks quite nice. Looks like the distant evergreen trees. And these are a little bit closer, but still somewhat in the mist and in the shadows, so I keep those shapes. So I keep those shape soft. Okay. So quite dark, as you can see. Okay. Okay. Tree trunk here. Don't paint it over. I need this to be light. But don't make it too thick. Slow down. And get the shape I want. See, a lot of people think that doing a loose painting means you work super fast. That's how you get a loose painting. That's not quite so. You still need to slow down when you need to. A loose painting means that you don't waste your stroke. You know how you know what you're gonna paint. You know how to get there. And you paint it with minimum amount of brush stroke. Okay. And that sounds easy, but I still struggle with it every painting that I do. Okay. Sorry. Here's a little bit of stressful part. I'm trying to paint around the highlight. Well, I'm not really seeing the tree just yet because I'm saving it for later. Okay, a little bit green value. Just bring this down just a little bit. Get some values in here. A little bit greener. This is actually grass. Just that it's mostly in shadow, so it's a little bit cooler. Okay. Tap some water on it. Okay. Whew. Can't believe I spent that much time on this. Kind of necessary though. All right. Is this dry? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start working on this side of the tree. Let's see, I can zoom in just a little bit. Let's just focus on this part a little bit. All right. All right, so this part I'm going to just do the tree with some, starting to give it some values. So what I'm gonna do is to use a clean brush, just kind of randomly. Very quickly re-wet some of the area, not all of them, okay, some of them. And I'm going to start mixing, some green, some nice saturated green color. And drop those color in here and there. Okay. So what it does is when it hits the wet area, it becomes soft, and it hits some dry area, it gives some dry edges, some hard edges. Okay. There's no way I'm gonna paint every single leaves. Okay, there's just no way I'm gonna do that. So I will have to suggest most of them. Some warmer color. Okay, let's bring that fall colors in. There you go. Now it becomes much more intense. Okay. Wet on wet, wet on dry. Okay. This is the fun part of the painting. Just let it go free. It's colors and such. Leaves here. Any questions so far? Are you guys still with me? Will you guys fall asleep? It's fine. It's fine if you do. Some red. Hi, Anne. All right. Red colors here, like so. Let me use a slightly smaller brush. To get those little details in. Here, lots of wetting wet. Okay, that's how you can able to mix those colors soft, nice and soft. Let me spray a little bit of water on it. It's drying pretty fast. I need a little bit more time. Just bring a little bit of red here. Okay, and some yellow. Okay, now while it's still kind of wet, I'm going to mix a darker color. I'll have some, add some alizarin crimson in it. So just to make it dark. Let me see how that works. Ah, okay. Now, I need a little bit of dark to bring volume into these trees. Okay, otherwise it just look like flat color. But the moment I start to get some dark values in, you start to read volume. Because you need light and shadow to work together to bring you form. When there's both light and value, you start to see the lighting hits, you start to see the form turn. And for something like trees, I mean, there's thousands and millions of leaves here. It's good to see them as group. I see this as one group, this as one group, this as another group. And I use a little bit of hard edge like these to give the illusion of there's a ton of leaves. Okay, I have some greens. Bring some of the values in. Dark one here. Okay, how is it looking? This thing is starting to work. Tiny bit of dark here, little bits and pieces. Now, burn umber. Ultramarine makes like a dark color. Let's see if I can just use this brush without changing it into a rigger. Okay. Break that a little bit. I am drawing tree branches, as you can see, but I break them up a little bit because some of it is hidden behind leaves, some of it is showing up. Let's see if I can get away from this. I'm using a palette knife, see if I can scratch some paint away. There's quite heavy paint here. I might be able to do that. A little bit of that. Look at that. Works like a charm. Okay, I'm tempted to do it all over the place, but I can't. Okay, need to stop. Okay, going to use my rosemary brush with this little weird odd shape that hopefully can give me some more interesting shape. need to use a smaller one. I'm glad I put the music in, so if I don't speak, at least you guys have something to listen to. Alright. Nice thick paint, okay, and put those in like so. Okay. Pretty nice and delicate. It's like you're sculpting almost. Okay, a little bit here. Break that a little bit. I don't like that. Let me get this part a bit darker. Okay. Now let me bring this tree down. Okay. The tree trunk. Okay, here's another tree trunk. Now I'm just painting the shadow side of it, okay? If it's Bob Ross, he'll just do like a dark shape and then, you know, put some really white paint on it. This is watercolor. I can't do that, sadly. But at least they still look happy. Happy trees. Okay, let me actually bring some of these leaves down. Just like that. Pretty easy. Darker value. Some red. Red and orange. Some dark under here, here, and here. Okay, enough trees. Okay, I'm going to put some dark here. So, sort of like the buildings. Now, there's a lot of details in here, but I need to simplify them quite a bit. If I try to do every details, it's just overall just gonna get too confusing. So right. So just a little hint of stuff, structure catching the light, and that's it. Okay? And then as it moves down here, okay, keep that highlight for the tree trunk, okay? Now, if you look carefully, we have some falling leaves here. Well, let's put those in by using our magical wet onto wet, like that. So you drop those little colors in, like that. Now bring this onto the sidewalk. Not dot dot dot, okay? A little bit, break up your shape, break up your brush stroke a little bit. Like that. Some greens here. So this painting is a lot of color mixing, playing wet onto wet, and so on. Okay. Now let me actually darken the sidewalk just a little bit. Leave the curb light, okay, it's catching a little bit more light. What I like about winter light is it's always so warm, and especially in the Pacific Northwest area, it is mostly at an angle. Even during the noontime, it's still at the slight angle. I think I am caught up on detail. I need to stop that. So zoom out with me. And I'm going to just paint a big shape to relieve myself from it. I'll squint my eyes a little bit and just go for it. Yep, just big shape. I'll paint this part dark and I'll release myself from getting caught up with so much detail, because we have a lot of detail jumping around, and especially when you're focusing on a specific spot, you start to look for details, and that will be the end of it. So squint my eyes, step back, whatever it takes. Stop working on details. I am not trying to paint an architectural building rendering. I am not doing that. Like, nothing wrong if that's what you're into, but I am not doing that. That's not how I paint. Okay, I need to extend the tree a little bit more. Well, luckily I can by just doing that. Okay, some more leaves here. Okay, so I think that painting some big shape kind of help me, relieve me from trying to do the detail too much. Okay, now I'll paint the building. But again, this is mostly behind the tree, so I'm just going to suggest there's something back there. Break it up a little bit so there's some illusion of leaves. Okay, some cool value on this side of the building, and I'll keep this light. Oh, I think I accidentally painted over that circular shape. It's okay. Okay, I think while this is kind of semi-damp, I'll do something a little bit risky. I'm going to drop in some pretty dark paint. Those mixture are pretty intense, so it shouldn't give me cauliflower edges, and it will give me some little hints of details for those buildings. I think that will help me quite a bit. Yeah, I think that will do. Okay, the roof. Very simple, just like so. Just need a little hint of definitions, and that's it. There's so much confusion there. It's the tree. So I'm gonna just stop it right there. I don't want to hurt myself. Give this tree trunk a little bit of color, but keep it very thin, okay? Just like that. All right. I'll move on the right, but the right side is mostly just yellow, so it should be easier. And I think doing the left side make me a little bit looser on my brush stroke. So there we go. Oops. leaves here. Randomly dry brushing. Give that some textures. Okay. Try to break those patterns. Okay. And then some darker value. Same drill. There we go. Okay, so there's a tree behind this, and that's actually darker. I think it's interesting, but I'll try to keep that down in the into minimum. So this is pretty much dry, so I can come back in, give it some definitions of that tree back there. So that tree goes tall here. So this exchange of value, lighter, darker. Hopefully it'll bring some sparkle to those fall yellow leaf that's glowing by the sunlight. Just notice I pick quite a hard subject to paint. And not just that, I paint this live while people are watching me. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. Come out a little bit. Anybody has any questions? It doesn't have to relate to the painting. But try to distract me a little bit, actually. So I don't bog down to all the details that I'm looking at. Okay. That. Actually, I'll have a little bit of hard edge here. So almost the same value, but a little bit subtle hard edge. I think that can help to bring out this form. Okay, the fun part. Let's do. Oh no, trust me, I'm kind of winging it as well, Andrea. like, even though I keep saying that you should plan for your painting, but just there's a lot of things that you cannot plan. Like I thought it would go a certain way, but there's always things that will surprise you. Tree branches. Oh, okay. Grab a palette knife, see if I can scratch some paint away. Okay. I'm always a little bit hesitant when I scratch the paint because it can damage the paper. But if the paint is thick enough, it will do wonders. I think it works quite well in some of the areas. Okay, so next to those area that I scratched, whoops, raise that up. Next to those area I scratched, I can just put a little bit of shadow, and now it looks like a tree branch. How nice is that? Where are you guys tuning from? Can you guys let me know? And what time is it over there? Hi Anne. In my course I have an example like much simpler landscape than this. But I personally like to do like street scenery like with tall buildings a little bit better. But I saw the fall color here just so beautiful. Let me see if I can try to interpret it in my painting. And just as I predicted, it is quite a pain. Just so much to paint and can't really do it justice. Well, Frederick, thank you. Yeah, I know it's late for you guys. I'll try to wrap it up as fast as I can. These trees are a real pain. Yeah, almost 10 p.m. here too. I'm in Washington, so we're in the same time zone. So that means I've been doing it almost an hour and a half. It takes way too long. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, there will be recordings, so if you guys are too tired, you guys are free to go. And I'm not gonna keep you away from your sleep. Okay, some warm, dark green. This needs a little bit more kick here and there. Yep. Okay. Alright, that helps. Thanks for tuning in, Frederick. Yeah, you can check out the recording later, and Yeah, sorry for keeping you so late. Just go way past what I intended to be. These freaking trees. Alright, I'm going to do the car. This dark red car sort of fits the scene. Alright. Well, I do a lot more car than trees, so this should be relatively easier. Windshield. Just clean water and I'll just soften this part. Make the right side lighter. Yeah. You know what? I'm actually gonna bring this in. I'm gonna connect the dark here to merge into the background a little bit. There we go. I think that looks better. Okay. Now, I'll try not to touch that wash. And I'll just paint that red color in. Okay, nice and red, a little bit darker down here. Lighter on the right side, okay? Because the sun is hitting it. Some darkness down here. This is just straight neutral tint. So front wheel here. A little hint of back wheel here. Windows on the side. Okay, I'm gonna fix that shape a little bit, like so. By painting that background in. Alright. Get that shape in. Okay, I'll wait for that to dry. In the meanwhile, I'll work on the car in the back. I'll just keep it like a neutral white car. So same thing, just windshield. darken in the bottom. Paint some background and cut around the car. Yeah, that Escoda is really nice. They gave away pretty easily too because they're synthetic. But that's a nice point. Really nice feel to it. Right, this car back here. Okay, the windshield. Okay. Darker. Okay, sort of this gunmetal gray, so a little bit warmer. So I will paint that color in. Leave some highlight. And while that's wet, I'm gonna drop some just dark colors in. So it gives a nice transition from dark to light here. It should be a little bit cooler. That's too warm. Okay. Wheels of the car here. Okay, it's a little bit too dark here. I'm gonna use some clean water and just lighten that up just a tiny bit. Okay. I'm not painting a rainy street scene, so I'll do a little bit less wet on wet for the car. And so like the tail light, I will wait till it's dry, so it gives a little bit more hard edge. Okay, this background cars don't need much. Need a dark windshield, need a body, need two wheel, and done. This car right here, a little bit lighter. Again, dark windshield, body, and we're done. Okay. So I'm just gonna put in some random shapes here. And those are the visual language that will such as cars in the background. Okay, maybe some cars here. Okay, doesn't it look just like cars in the distance and there's just two strokes? How powerful is that? Okay, this car is dry. I'm gonna give it the front grille here. Now it looks much better. Give it a rear view mirror here. And here. Same thing for this guy. Dark grille here. A little dot for rear view mirror. A bit darker on top, a little bit darker on the bottom. Just some tiny bit of suggestions. It's amazing how that tiny thing will really help. Alright. Okay. Now let's do the figure here. So mix a nice orange color. Okay, so I have this guy here. And this here, give it a little net here. Well, I'll just play it safe for him. I'll just give him a dark jacket. It's one leg forward. Leg on the back. Make sure our guy is tall enough. Let's have him wear like a light green shirt underneath. So it's not too white. And for this person, I think I'll make her a female. So she will wear a long skirt. Okay, give this guy a little bit hair and her too. All right, nice and simple. Just have some shape of figure back here. They don't have to be as defined. Okay. we are 80% there. I'll do something real quick and then we'll call it a day. I'll finish the rest of the painting. And I can email you guys the finished painting. Something that's very important that is missing at this moment is this. The cast shadow. The low morning sun is casting long cast shadow across this whole scenery. Without it, everything is floating. It's very quick and easy to do those, but these are super important. See, just by adding those, all of a sudden everything makes sense. Now we'll give a cast shadow here. Well, not cast shadow, form shadow here for the curb. There we go. Now we have some definition of the form. How cool is that? Now you can see the form turning. Okay, some trees here. I haven't do the branches down here. I'll do that real quick. Have this tree go across. All the way across, like that. Okay, just give it some. Pretend like those are the shadow of those leaves and tree. Just very loosely. Okay. Alright. Let me put that tail light in. Oops. Put that tail light in here. Here. whitewash and get that headlight in. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. It's not completely finished. There's a few things I want to do, but I think in terms of the overall painting, that's it. I'm gonna darken this road quite a bit. After this is dry, I'll glaze it over and I'll add a little bit more details here, but they're just going to be some random shapes. But the overall painting, I think that's pretty much it. So I don't want to keep you guys any longer, so I will just call it a day if you're still here. Thank you for tuning in. Next time I'll try to pick a simpler subject. Alright, good night everybody. I'll email you guys the finished painting.